It's undeniable that the case against Hunter Biden was really politically motivated, but I also think it's true that the trial in New York for Trump that was political as well too. Now it's that, and in both cases, I think a pardon is appropriate, and I really think collectively, America's confidence in these kinds of institutions have been damaged by these kinds of cases.
It's always a toss-up when discussing who's the worst host on The View, but today Joy Behar takes the cake because she is talking with John Fetterman, gaslighting and refusing to take accountability for the actions of Democrats and what they've been doing over the last 8 years, turning men away, turning all these people away from their party because of their fear-mongering, their cancellations, and everything else. It's absolutely insane. But before we get into that, I want to remind you guys to subscribe to Resist the Mainstream to ensure to YouTube that you're enjoying our videos and so that they will continually show up on your feed and to push it out to more people. Without further ado, let's get into this video.
It is his son, after all, and people do have sympathy for that. But a lot of people are angry with him about it. What do you say?
Oh, well, I think it's undeniable that the case against Hunter Biden was really politically motivated, but I also think it's true that the trial in New York for Trump that was political as well too. Now it's that, and in both cases, I think a pardon is appropriate, and I really think collectively, America's confidence in these kinds of institutions have been damaged by these kinds of cases, and we cannot allow these kinds of institutions to be weaponized against our political opponents. And it's very clear both trials were politically motivated.
Well, here's the thing. Under Trump's administration, he never once came for Hunter Biden. There was a lot of uncertainty on the Biden laptop during the election period, and everyone was very sketched out about it. And then we kept getting censored because we wanted to talk about it. And it was super weird and sketchy. We found out that the FBI was working with Twitter, and the Twitter files whole thing came out. So it's not actually the same because under Trump, it didn't go for or after Hunter Biden. Everything that's been happening with Hunter Biden has been under the Joe Biden administration, his DOJ. So Trump, there's no politically motivated push by Trump to do anything. They were just we're all trying to figure out what's up with the laptop, and you guys kept dismissing it. Trump was a clear political attack against the one opponent you were going to have who was going to be facing you, and you didn't want him to do that, and you kept trying to throw him in jail. They're not even close to being the same thing. It's disingenuous. I would not even put them even anywhere near close to the same vicinity, but okay, let's pardon them both. Hunter should not be pardoned. This man is insane. It's not the same thing as Donald Trump, which no one still to this day really even knows what he was convicted for. And he's not a convicted felon. Okay, he's not a convicted felon. And we'll get into that more later, but let's see what else John Fetterman is going to close out with.
And weaponize that on the other side.
They'll say that about the J6 people too, though, right? That's what they're going to say on the other side. That is weaponized also.
I'm not referring to that. I'm talking about the New York trial, and now the Democrats on our side there were some that were gleeful, calling it like now he's a convicted felon and those things, and now for our party we were talking about criminal justice, and we're now talking about second chances, and now all of a sudden now you're like, well, he's a convicted felon and all these things. And now clearly, again, both of those trials, the Hunter Biden one and the trial in New York for Trump, that was politically motivated, and those kinds of charges would have never been brought unless one side could realize that they could weaponize that.
Senator, many of
yeah, it's not the same, man. And what she tried to say, they'll try and do that with J6ers. You guys over dramatize that too. What happened there was wrong. It shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have been done. I totally agree. Ridiculous. Childish, storming the Capitol, even though there were videos of people just walking in, so it wasn't quite as dramatic as you guys would like for it to be. You know, we got Kamala Harris comparing it to Pearl Harbor in 9/11. That was insane. But yeah, J6ers, again, they're going to say that there's some people that are in prison still that should not be in prison. That just were there, that showed up, what happened to be there, that may have been escorted in. Now, there were people that are wild out. No one's negating that fact. There were. But you guys have people in jail to this day, 4 years later, that should not be in jail. I talked to a mother and a wife of a man who's in prison just for being there. He didn't do anything. He was just there. Came, arrested him, and he's been in. I don't even think he's out yet. I interviewed this lady like a couple years ago. It's so sad, and it was 2 years at the time. It's got to be 4 now. But you know, you don't get to get mad about him for pardoning anyone from J6 when Biden pardoned Hunter for all the crazy things that we know that he's done. And they it's just a father that doing it for his son. No, you don't get to just pardon your son for insane illegal activity, but it's his son. That justification is actually wild. And this isn't the first of the many View hosts that say something stupid, but Joy Behar, like I said, takes the cake. And you're going to see later why I'm saying this. I literally just an insufferable human being. So let's just get into this next video because I'll just get hot ranting about it. But I need you guys to see why.
Since Trump's win, there's been a lot of soul searching on the Democratic side, people needing answers on what went wrong. Do you think that is helpful? And do you think there should also be some soul searching on the Republican side who need to analyze why they would nominate a convicted felon who ran on lies, threats of retribution, and concepts of a plan?
Excuse you? He's not a convicted felon. In order to be a convicted felon, you have to be sentenced. He hasn't been. He's going to be pardoned probably, or everything's going to be dismissed because they know it was a witch hunt and no one believes it. Nobody fell for it. He won. That just proves that everything you guys did, and you're still regurgitating and propagating that narrative that nobody has fallen for. And you guys keep just trying. It's like the definition of insanity by Albert Einstein. Repeating the same thing, expecting different results. You know that nobody believes that or is falling for that, and you're still regurgitating those talking points because you are just a Looney Tune. There's something wrong. He's not a convicted felon. He did not run on retribution. He did not run on lies. He ran on securing the border, making our economy thrive again like it was the first time under his first administration. And we've been struggling currently. And you're just lying and nobody falls for it. I mean, you could talk, just because you're talking to a Democrat doesn't mean he's going to feed into your BS. Sunny, she's like number 2. It goes, Joy's the worst right now, and then Sunny. You know, those interchangeable because they're both just annoying individuals. But let's see what John has to say.
I haven't spent any of my time after the election freaking out or just, you know, thinking about, I mean, here's where we are. And I would like to remind everybody that that's the way democracy works. I was warning people that before the election that, you know, you have the risk. If Trump wins, then he's going to get the House. He's going to have the Senate. And now you have the Supreme Court with a strong conservative slant now, too. So here's we are. And for the next 2 years, Trump and the GOP is going to be able to drive this narrative. That's undeniable. That's a fact as well, too. And the last, you know, kind of like that emergency break right now is the filibuster in the Senate. And then otherwise, they'll be able to just run any kinds of laws through Congress. And now the Supreme Court would likely back them up as well, too.
Senator Fetterman, I enjoyed you on Joe Rogan. I thought you had some really interesting insights on the election. And one of the things that you've discussed is how Democrats lost some gains that they needed to make with young men across the board. And you said that there was a perception that they could be condescending or insulting. Can you explain what you meant by that? And how do you think Democrats need to be talking to men in a way that perhaps they weren't this cycle?
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, it's become more and more difficult. You know, it forces men to kind of choice, you know, can I really remain a Democrat? And some of the kinds of the tone in those kinds of situations, it's undeniable.
No, you can't when people keep telling you you're the villain, you're the problem, the patriarchy, just completely crapping on men for the last 8 years. Yeah, of course they're gonna be like, all right, fine, let me go to the side that actually thinks I'm a human being and wants to like respect me for just like you hate me for being. I didn't do anything. We're all different. We're individuals. It's something that we need to focus on more. Everyone's an individual. We don't just sit there and throw blame on a demographic that's so diverse in thought and feelings and desires and wants and needs. Like, it's like insane. They just throw them all. You're a man, so this is your thought pattern. This is your thought process. This is who you are. You're a woman. This is how you feel. You're a victim. You've been assaulted. You've been whatever. Like, it's just, everyone's different. Everyone has different experience. Everyone has different experiences. But no, you like to group everyone with groupthink, identity politics, all that stuff. And it's like men have been like just completely disregarded and disrespected throughout all of that, and they're over it. And that's why so many men were voting for Trump. I mean, there were studies coming out a couple years ago about how young men are trending conservative. Of course, it sucks to suck, but I'm grateful for it. I'm glad Trump won, and I'm glad men are becoming men again.
I've witnessed that over the last 8 years, and Trump has a really strong connection with a lot of these unions as well now too. And it was very clear that we've lost a lot of that. That migration has already been well underway. And here we are now. And now whether it's bros or the manosphere and all these, I mean, those are negative kinds of terms. And if you talk down with them or you make them part of the problem, or it's all because of you and your fault, then of course they're going to find an alternative. And that's what they've done that. And, you know, I believe in having a conversation on anyone that's playing it straight. I'm delighted. I'm happy to be on your show. Or
The View does not play straight. Stop playing, John.
with Joe Rogan. I'm a fan of his as well too, or Bill Maher. All of these people. I think having a conversation with anyone that wants to play it straight. I mean, I think we should be talking to as many people as possible. And it's undeniable the Democrats have lost a lot with men. And I'm not sure where we're able to bring that back without a long-term kind of a strategy to re-engage them, because it's undeniable. There's been serious erosion.
Well, there have been.
This is going to be the most annoying. What is the word? What's a proper word to explain what Joy Behar is about to say? Just disingenuous, dismissive, just losing faith in humanity type response you're going to hear from Joy Behar about how the Democrats need to do in terms of approaching men in the future. Listen to what she says.
Social forces at work for many years. Women have advanced and a lot of guys have not. And we need to address that, I think, before we can say what the Democrats have to do. But let me ask you this.
Oh, I cannot stand that woman. Yeah, so there's been many studies, social studies, or it's not social studies like geography, or not history. It's insane. Yeah, so basically women have advanced, men have not. They've been kind of deteriorating over time mentally and socially and all this stuff. So, we should address that before we do anything about changing the Democratic Party, because there's nothing that we did wrong. They're just so mushy in the brain, don't have anything up there, that they weren't able to comprehend that Kamala Harris was a better option and Trump is just so bad, or bad orange man. It's men's fault. Women are advanced and smart and intelligent, and we've been doing great. And so that's why we knew the right side. And so the only reason why we lost is because of incompetency on the other side. And that's why you're going to keep losing, because he just said that you've been disenfranchising men, and that's why they turned away from you. And you're just saying, well, you're stupid and you're wrong. And so we should deal with you being stupid and wrong first. I can't stand her. I really cannot stand her. But hey, we won, and we're going to keep winning with that mentality. It's not going to work anymore. People are over it. They're sick of being insulted. They're sick of being called names. And it's like, okay, cool. I'll go back to the low gas prices, the lower grocery prices, to a secure border. And I'll pick the mean orange man, because we're sick of this. And so am I. I was always rocking with Trump, but I'm so grateful to see that the country has too. 76 million votes, guys. I'm a 77. Popular vote and electoral college. So sucks to suck, View. And you really do suck. But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure that you subscribe to Resist the Mainstream and that you are commenting thoughts below. I really want to know what you guys are thinking. I cannot stand the View, and I cannot say that enough. But I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.